All right, this meeting is reconvened. It's 10:31. Next item is 8, unfinished business, the update on the progress of the high water vehicle. Chief.
Thank you, Commissioner Bennett. So last meeting, I put up on the screen some images of the type of vehicle that we were looking at for high water, for basically transporting people out of their homes in high water situations. We've continued working on it, and the type of vehicle is an LMTV, which is a light military transport vehicle. It's repurposed for commercial use with steps and lifts and stuff so you can get people up into it. And it would tread about 4 foot of water, allowing us to leave our fire trucks back and basically respond to people's emergencies with that high water vehicle when the other trucks can't make it. During that time, I've been looking at a second option. It's an amphibious vehicle. It would serve the high water purpose, but it also would serve additional purposes like being able to go into mangroves and stuff like that if we had a rescue of that type, which the USAR team has had in the last year and a half. So it would serve some other purposes as well. So I have 2 vehicle types on the board, working with the Sheriff's Department, who has a SHRP type vehicle, the amphibious vehicle, to see if it will meet our needs. So basically the homework continues, and I don't have a recommendation at this time, but when I come back to you with a recommendation, I want to be sure it'll meet our needs and it'll serve as many functions as possible. That's where I'm at.
Great. Thank you. Questions?
None.
None? All right. Okay. That's it for unfinished business. We'll move on to new business, which is the election of board member positions. We do this every election cycle to reset the board officers. So we'll open the floor right now for a motion for the role of board chair.
I nominate John Bennett.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can't get rid of it fast enough. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? Objections? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, and second motion will be to fulfill the role of vice chair. And I'd like to nominate Commissioner Nickel.
I'll second that.
Discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you
I'll
again.
vote for myself.
And our last board position is that of Secretary Treasurer, probably the busiest position on the entire board outside of our meetings. Do we have a motion for that position?
I would move to nominate Commissioner Fleming.
I will second that. Discussion? Mr. Fleming, you good with that?
I'm good.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The board is set.
We'll change our placards.
Get
this one. A changing of the placard.
All right. Our next item of new business is the approval of District 3 collective bargaining agreement. I'll turn that over to the chief.
Thank you. So, back in May, we started, our contract runs on a 3-year cycle. Back in May, we began the process of negotiating the new contract for the 24, 25, 25, 26, 26, 27 years. We originally started out with quite a few different items in the contract, and we had a leadership change with the union during that time. DVP Jennifer Gordon, she retired, and Todd Williamson, who was the previous DVP, took back over. So we worked with Todd and his team, negotiating team, and had about half a dozen meetings. We had some delays because of the 2 storms we had, but I'm happy to say that we have a tentative agreement for a 3-year contract. And I believe the contract, it says a couple things. One is that a lot of the things in the contract that we talked about, ultimately at the end of the day, we felt like we didn't need to change language on. And I think that speaks to a couple things. One, the relationship that exists between labor and management and the way we were able to work through these contracts. And, and that the district is taking care of our folks in a way that, they're being compensated for the services they're providing. So just some highlights on the contract. We did revise the whole pay plan, and we took the pay plan and did a few things with it that were a little bit different. We separated out where we did have steps in each rank. So for firefighter, there were 4 steps that they would go through. To accomplish that step, it was a collection of experience or time in the rank and certifications, and we separated those out. And we did that for a few reasons. One thing is that it allows us to when we're hiring people, we don't get a lot of fires in the district. So by separating out the education from the experience, we're able to recognize people's education that they might come to us with. So as we're trying to attract people, and we can pull people with more experience, more education, it allows us to bring them in the door at something higher than that starting rate. And then the other thing we did is we put in there that with the experience being separated out, for people who come in from other agencies and they have prior experience in agencies that are at least as, they're career agencies and they're at least as complex as ours, that we can recognize their prior experience as well. So we have a contract, and it basically now with the pay plan says that we will look at the cost of living each year, and that cost of living represents each employee being able to keep their same standard of living that they had before prices went up. So that's the basis for making adjustments to the plan in the future, is looking at that cost of living allowance first. And so with that, we put a plan in place that focuses on the COLA, or the cost of living adjustments that we've seen, not only this year, but for limits that we had in the contract in the last couple of years. We're able to catch up the folks who we didn't fully compensate them for their cost of living. So that's probably the biggest change. As far as the other benefits, as far as time off and stuff, most of that stayed relatively the same. So with that, you had a summary in your packet, and we have in front of you for approval, already approved by the members, by the way, a collective bargaining agreement for the next 3 years.
Great. Questions, comments?
None?
I thought it was a good agreement.
Looks like it, all this falls within our guidelines as far as the cost of district.
It does,
Our
yes. So
budget.
this, we anticipated, in the budget that we started on October 1, a cost to fund this plan. We were within budget on that. And that's one other thing that I've put in the contract, and I ask you to approve today, is that this contract will be retroactive to October 1. And it'll be for a full 3-year period.
Great. All right. Somebody like to make a motion for approval of the collective bargaining agreement for District 3?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? Questions? Public input? We have 2 members of the public here today, and it's a pleasure. All right, with that being said, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate all the hard work on that. And again, thanks to the membership for their business-like demeanor in getting this done. All right, takes us on to item number C on new business, the continuation of Chief Worst's performance review. All right, so we discussed this back a few months ago. We were waiting until we completed the District 3 contract to address the chief's enhancement to pay and any changes that may entail. And Chief has a request that he would like, in lieu of a raise, to be compensated for 1 year of employee-only health insurance coverage for each year of service as chief. And he will retain his family-dependent coverage at his cost. Chief, anything I missed on that, or is that pretty much it in summary?
No, it allows me to plan for the future and, make sure that we're getting all the way to 65 when the time comes. So
And what's the
I appreciate that consideration.
What's the number on that health insurance for the annual?
Employee health coverage right now is about 14,000.
It's about $1,200 a month.
Okay.
$1,200 a month.
For employee only?
Employee only, yes. So this would provide me for each year that I serve in the role, the district will put in a reserve budget the money to be able to provide it once I, retire.
Once you retired for every year after that, after your
Yes.
retirement?
Yeah. So if I do 5 years as fire chief, it would be 5 years of employee-only coverage. And it would give me access, and it's the way it is for our retirees now, as far as being able to stay on the plan, but it would allow me to stay on the plan and be able to fund my wife.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, because I know a lot of health insurance plans won't let you, once you separate, they won't let you, they try to put you into the COBRA,
Right.
which this would be different than the COBRA.
We have a statute. There's a statute that provides for payment by former employees.
Okay.
As long as they do make that payment, once they stop, they're out.
Right, so this would be money going into an account that Scott would use to make his monthly.
No, so actually what this would be is money that would go into a reserve fund within the district.
Okay,
So when I separate, or if it's 5 years of service, then for 5 years, the district will pay
Makes-
my part.
They'll make
So I'll
that payment.
basically
Makes the
stay with the
monthly payment.
district's plan, and the district will pay my part, and then I would have to write a check for family coverage.
okay, yeah, I'm fine with that, I just want to make it clear for the public, because everybody who's out in the general public, that's different than how it would work if you work for a company.
That's correct,
And you
yeah.
separate it.
Right, but there,
Yeah.
as I said,
So
there's
yeah.
provisions, right.
Thank you, perfect,
Because that also protects him from cancer-related,
correct.
in the future, all those things, if he stays on the health care
Perfect.
provided by the district.
I think it's a nice solution, actually. I think it's a really nice thought that we never came up with before. It's important.
And we'll draft the agreement, and of course, it'll also include a provision that says he can't retire.
In perpetuity.
Okay, thank you.
It's I thought of this idea, it's also a benefit to the district in the sense that the district isn't having to pay for a compounding benefit on my base wage. So
Sure.
it does provide some benefit to the district as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, and to remind everybody, we brought Chief Worth in at the base salary for the chief position. So he is at the lowest pay scale for his position at the moment.
So for next year, as we come around to this next year then, is it going to, next year we would consider you for a pay raise then, because we've already established the health care
You could. So
part for this year.
that's correct. So the
Okay.
difference being that if I were to get a raise this year, next year's raise would have that compounding benefit.
Sure,
The
sure.
raise for this year is basically, I won't call it a flat amount because
Yeah.
the employee amount can change. I don't think it's been fairly consistent. So I could see that amount as it's going into the fund each year, staying more consistent. So I think the district in the long run will experience some benefit from
Okay.
foregoing that base wage adjustment this year.
But it does allow for a raise for you next year
Sure.
should
Yes.
that be warranted and we decide for that. Okay.
Questions, comments, any additional? I just want to make sure that we don't fall behind in terms of chief executive pay. And if we all feel like we're okay for this year to do it this way, but as we get into future years, we're going to have to pay
That's why I
attention to
asked.
that
Yeah.
to make sure that we're compensating where we should be, and the chief's not falling behind, so to speak. And
Yeah,
that
that's why I asked
and
that question.
The difference in pay between his subordinates and him is not getting collapsed.
Well, you'll review that too. You review that, right? Region-wide every year?
Been reviewing it for the
Okay.
last few days. So a COLA would probably allow that separation between ranks to occur as well, if you provided a COLA.
Is
In
he,
addition to
now,
the
is he,
health
is he, are you in line now for a COLA, or do we have to add that?
This is in lieu of a COLA, so that's what I'm asking. So
Okay.
this is in lieu of a COLA. And
What
and
is-
what I will say is that yes, it will, I'm probably in the bottom half countywide as far as where my starting pay is. But we do have a little bit of room between myself and the next level. So we have some working room. And then each year, what I won't do is come back to you next year and go, well, I'm below all these other departments and try to forget about what I'm asking you for now.
Right.
So we will trend on the lower half, and I'm okay with that. And I think it shows some responsibility, district-wide, that we're not trying to get to the
Right.
top of the heap. We're
Right.
well compensated and,
Remind me what the COLA is for this year? Is it 3?
for this year, 3.4%.
3.4. Okay, I was thinking 3.5.
So the first year in the collective bargaining agreement, it's 8.3, but that's
Right.
4.9% from 2022. So in 2022, cost of living was 7.9%. Our folks were compensated 3%. So this first year, we're making up that 2022 amount. So
Gotcha.
yes, but for the current year, 3.4%.
I mean, the only thing I would say is that next year you should definitely look at cost of living. I mean, cost of living is just supposed to put you at the same level as you were before. So, I mean, and Chief and I haven't discussed this, but I look at what his request is instead of a raise versus cost of living. So if he's foregoing it this year, I think definitely next year, that should be something that's automatically looked at
100%.
Yeah.
across the board.
I guess that's kind of what I was
Yeah.
chipping at here,
Right.
is that typically we would look at his performance and say, well, we think he deserves a merit raise that would, and you would take that into consideration with the current cost of living, and that merit raise might exceed the cost of living substantially depending on his performance,
Right.
which I think has just been outstanding. He's been through in this district, and his people have been through some very difficult times. And I think he's provided us some outstanding leadership. So I'm not trying to cause an issue, but I'm just saying, gosh, I agree with, and I understand his request for medical coverage, being set aside, but I wouldn't be opposed to considering some COLA or some partial COLA in addition to that medical, if other board members were of a mind to that.
Would you like to make a motion?
I would make a motion that in addition to the setting aside the money for medical as the chief has requested, then we would provide him with the COLA that everyone else is getting, just to maintain his continued purchasing power where he's at.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
So Jane, is that the 3.4 or the 8 that everybody else is getting? Because there's
That
two
goes back
things
to
on.
the question.
Right.
Yeah, there's 3.4 and then there's 8.
Taking the, yeah, I was thinking of the 3.4 because we are doing the medical.
The rest of the other stuff.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking, but I'm open to whatever
Chief?
thoughts anybody
We're
has.
just past the 1 year on his contract, so it would be the 1 year COLA for his starting pay.
So if I may, the
Please do.
the amount for the health insurance is very comparable. It's between 7 and 8% that you're offering. And I wouldn't be comfortable taking that and then asking you for another 3.5%. I appreciate the gesture. I think it's very kind. This is, it's a benefit to the district, but this is my second career, if you will. I'm already retired. So that helps me, that allows me to be able to do this for the district, for the community. And like I said, it helps me, basically spread this out over a longer period of time. So I've asked for this, and I appreciate the extra amount, but I would be uncomfortable. If you were going to do that, what I would do is I would ask for a prorated part of the health insurance, so not to exceed the same percentage that everybody else is.
But you are foregoing.
The good news is it's our decision.
I'm going to argue against you. You're foregoing a raise.
I know, right?
And one of the things you said, and I know from what I'm dealing with all the districts I represent, is the chief needs to make a certain amount of money to attract chiefs in the future. It's just a consideration.
So what is your
No, that's-
recommendation, Andy?
So that's definitely a consideration.
I mean,
When you're
that's-
replacing me, there might be a little bit of sticker shock.
Right, but if you do it
Right.
moving up, which is a benefit to the chief, I know, and he doesn't want it, but that's tough. If you vote for it, right.
Tough luck.
It
So-
is, keeping it competitive, because
So
that's a problem we have. And I know when we negotiated, he took the low end, so.
So your recommendation would be to make
I
the
think you have to have a,
chief
I
accept the
think,
COLA?
I think a COLA is separate than what he's asking for. I looked at what he was asking for in lieu of any kind of raise.
I kind of look at it twofold. You know, a COLA is a direct benefit that he gets retroactive to when we made his evaluation. The health benefit is a deferred compensation that the district won't see the impact of, hopefully for many years.
Right.
You know, if he gives us 10 years and we pay for 10 years worth of health insurance, then we're deferring that compensation. And even when it comes due, it's a monthly amount that is basically a minor expense in the big picture, not that it's not expensive. And it's, yeah, there's no direct benefit to show our appreciation for the chief's responsibility that's not deferred out 5 or 10 years. And the board may change by then, which of course could change the compensation package directly. So I'd also be in favor of a COLA, and that's my position. Commissioner Farrell, any?
I agree. I think Counselor made an excellent point in stressing that to attract ensuing fire chiefs, we need to keep it competitive and attract talent beyond Chief Worth's tenure. So I'm in favor of that.
We have a motion on the floor.
Yeah.
We do.
We do, and a second.
We do,
And a
yeah, this
second.
is- yeah,
So
the
this is the discussion?
This is the discussion.
This is the discussion on that motion,
So-
which is the, and my motion was for the 3.4.
Well,
The motion is for the deferred compensation for the health benefit plus a cost of living at 3.04, is that correct?
Is that what it's, 3.04?
3.4, I'm sorry.
3.4.
3.4%. It'll be retroactive to our initial evaluation date because we postponed compensation at that point.
Yes, that's my motion.
Any further questions?
No,
discussion?
I'm sorry, Scott, that you don't want a raise. It
I
hurts
appreciate
me.
it.
Well, it's good. It's not a raise,
But I
it's cost of
appreciate what
living.
you're trying to do for the community and for the department and the district. I appreciate that. But the other gentleman make a really great point. We have to always look for future leaders, and we have to stay competitive in that it's a discussion I have often about us on the island, and a lot of times we let ourselves fall behind. But I think it's important that you take this in order to take care of your family.
All right, there's no further questions? Public input?
I support the 3.4 plus.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your citizen input on our meeting. All right, any further questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Tough luck, Chief.
Sorry.
I appreciate it.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
You don't always get your way, sir.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Take your wife out to dinner.
Right?
Got it.
All right.
A nice
And-
dinner.
And again, that's, we've said it, we said it months ago when we first addressed this topic on what a great job Scott's done for the district and
Incredible, really.
in every aspect, and he continues to do so, and I look forward to many more years of deferring that compensation for his health benefit. With that, we move on to our 2025 meeting calendar.
Thank you. So in the packet, we have a list of meeting dates for you, and if you guys have had a chance to review these dates and identify any conflicts, if there are no conflicts, these are the dates that we will move forward with. And any conflicts that we want to talk about?
I'll have one in February,
Okay.
but I could potentially zoom in from that
You could
one.
zoom
So,
in.
yeah, I'll probably be driving, so that wouldn't be a problem.
Is there a better date in February for you, Jay?
It's fine, I can zoom in, if you
Sure.
guys are comfortable with that. I mean, I don't want to change everybody else's schedule.
Okay. Anyone else? Comments, desires, changes? Too many meetings, not enough meetings?
You can always add meetings.
This is
if
true.
you need it.
All right, majority of these look like we're set at
Yeah.
10 a.m. with the quarterly 5 p.m., which I think,
The nope, that should be fine too, December 17 and the November 19. I'm just checking. Yep, those should be fine. And Thanksgiving is the last
week
weekend
after.
in November. Yeah, the
Yes.
week after, okay. Yep.
all right, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting dates and times for 2025 as listed.
I'll second that.
Discussion, further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
And our last item on new business is Resolution 2024-08. Chief, if you can give us a review on that, please.
I will. So we have had a buyer for a while, and we have been working through the nuances of getting clean title. As you know, we have another party. We have the Zimmer family who donated the land many years ago. So they are a party to the sale of the property. There are 11 surviving grandkids. So all the documentation has to be worked out in order for one person to be able to be the power of attorney for the family. So Attorney Salzman and our other firm, along with the buyer's firm, we've been working through the reverter rights and getting all that paperwork squared away. The buyer is securing a survey, and the title company has had some stipulations in order to be able to give clear title. So all those details have been worked out between our attorneys and the buyer's attorney, and we have a clear path forward, and we're working on the final steps to get clear title. And one of those steps is the title company was looking for a resolution, and that's in your packet, and that's what we'll ask you to approve today. And that resolution, basically, Section 1 of that authorizes, you as the board are authorizing the conveyance and sale of the property. In Section 2, we're basically declaring that any mineral rights that come with the property are being forwarded to the buyer. In Section 3, you guys, which you've already done, are authorizing me to execute the instruments of conveyance to close on the property. And then Section 4 says any resolutions that might be in conflict, which we have taken official actions, but they do not conflict. So we're good there. And Section 5 says the resolution will be effective immediately upon adoption. So basically some paperwork to assure the title company that we're doing all this.
Great.
legitimately.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, you need to
We need
read
to-
the resolution
Yes.
by title only.
You'll need to make an attestation change to Ron Fleming.
Yeah. Secretary Treasurer.
Got it. Okay.
That can be done. Can we do that, just handwritten change? Yeah.
Either way, we can have him sign it, we can change it, that's no problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-08, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners for the Fort Myers Beach Fire Control District, approving the sale of the property commonly known as 3043 Estero Boulevard in Fort Myers Beach, Lee County, Florida, and providing for an effective date.
I'll second.
Discussion? Questions? Public input? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. All right, Fire Chief remarks.
Thank you. So I have a few today, so I'll run through them as quick as I can. I want to start by saying that we are pleased to welcome Oscar Gonzalez back to our family. Oscar came to us, I think, in 2017-ish, and then he left in 2021. His family was on the East Coast. He moved to a department on the East Coast to be closer to his family. In that time, Oscar and his wife have small kids. They've looked at the environment, family situation on the East Coast has changed, and they've come back over to the West Coast. Decided this is where they wanted their kids to grow up. Oscar had some of the folks from other departments that he knows recruiting him. Oscar wanted to come back to Fort Myers Beach. So we're honored to have him back and part of the family. And I think the big thing is that, I've seen people leave and they're always apologetic. It's like you have to do what's right for your family. But when people come back, sometimes I hope it's because they realize what this family meant to them. And Oscar has expressed that. He knows the people here, he knows the community, he served for 4 years, and he's glad to be back. We're glad to have him back. So I want to congratulate Oscar. Glad to have him back.
We are too.
Yes. So as you know, we've been pushing for our folks to take advantage of practical hands-on training opportunities. I've talked about it at several of the meetings. I'm pleased to see that our folks are beginning to take advantage of these opportunities. In February, we have 9 or 10 members attending the Orlando Fire Conference. 5 or 6 of those members will be doing practical hands-on training in their full gear and air packs. So they'll be taking their equipment with them to Orlando. They'll be learning about the nuances of firefighting in mid-rise structures. These are buildings that are typically between 4 and 8 stories. And they'll also be training on decision-making for first due units and the various tasks that must be assigned and completed in that first few minutes. So we're glad to see those people going and taking advantage of that training. During that same conference, we have another 3 or 4 members who are officers, acting officers, or they're future officers or training to be officers. They'll be taking an incident command boot camp. The description of that class is it'll cover how to command a scene with confidence. It'll provide information for chief officers on what to look for, how to communicate effectively, and how to get crews to accomplish the tasks needed. The students will run through scenarios in a simulation prop, and they'll culminate in commanding a RIT scenario. And RIT is a rapid intervention team that we keep on hand. So when we have people inside, we keep a group assigned to rescue them if something bad happens. So they'll be learning how to manage those scenarios when the situation changes quickly. And then in November of 2025, we have a 4-person crew going to do the Fire Department Training Network out in Indianapolis. And this is probably the foremost place to go. They'll be doing 5 straight days of live fire training, so they're going to get worked hard. They'll be participating in more live fire that week, probably than many firefighters get in their years of experience on the job. So it's a good opportunity for our folks who don't see a lot of fires to spend quite a bit of time in and get comfortable and kind of see how their hose streams work. And we practice it a lot in theory. We do our quarterly trainings, which sometimes include live fire, but that a lot of times you'll be inside a hot building for 10, 15 minutes. These guys are going to be in it for 5 days. So we're glad to see the people taking advantage of that.
I have a question. When they do that, can we get some footage of them doing it, some video that can get shared from the department out to the public here, to the community, about our folks training and a picture of what that might look like?
Well, I've been thinking about not necessarily that aspect, but the fact that we have 4 people going. These classes fill up as soon as they open. And Chief Armiger's been great staying on top of it and saying to our guys, look, this is opening and here's the opportunity. And his tenacity is I think, a big factor on why people are starting to take advantage of this.
Right.
I was thinking if there's some way that I could go out there for the week, and maybe I'm not one of the ones in the building, but I can be there and participate and see how it goes and be a part of it. But I got to check with the agency and see if that's even something that's doable.
Right, because even just some media footage, some social media footage, it's critical now.
Yeah.
And I don't think the residents know what that kind of training really looks like.
Yeah.
And what our team has to go through when they're at that kind of training, and the fact that it's needed so much.
Yeah.
Because they're preparing in case it happens here.
Mm-hmm.
And social media wise is everything right now with trying to get that information out. Here's our guys and gals, here's what they're doing, here's them training to protect us. So if there's a way to do some of that, it could be really powerful for the folks on the beach.
We'll work on that and see what we can do,
Yeah.
what our options
And
are.
I'm sure like Beach Talk Radio would be glad to, roll some of that and put some of that on social media. I know that the chamber would, I know that the town would, because it's just our team going out there to get better at what they do to protect us more effectively.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Good idea. Thank you.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, Chief Armiger also has some seats that he was able to secure with that same group where they teach you how to run burn buildings. And with us, with our upcoming construction over on Main Street, that'll be critical that we get, we have live fire instructors, but actually working in burn buildings like ours will be. So you have at least one going to that. Yeah. So Chief Armiger is going to be going to that to learn how to
How to burn a building down.
oversee that.
Right.
So, Jane and I are finalizing the training chief and the HR job postings. So we're going to be in the early part of next year, we'll be posting shortly, but looking somewhere around the early part of next year, conducting that hiring process for those two positions. Those positions are going to be key to get in place and get them up and running as we move into hiring our folks for the new fire station. So that's in the works as well. Our zoning was approved by the town earlier this month for the new fire station. And so that process is, we're working through the final steps. The board approved the zoning, and now we're working through the final steps of that development order. At the same time, the town has allowed us to put our plans in for the building, and they are going through the review processes as well. Jen's been looking at them and working through them and making comments for the fire portion of it. So I'm looking forward to seeing that happen. And then I expect by next meeting, I was hoping to possibly have a early meeting in December to address the GMP or the pricing for the new fire station. Wright Construction is working on that currently, getting bids, and by the next meeting, I expect to be able to come to you for approval, the pricing, so that we can get started on building the building. I had hoped that we would be able to start doing site work and some demolition before the first of the year, and I don't know if that's going to happen because of the timing of things. Construction companies tend to close down the last couple weeks of the year, so we're probably going to be moving dirt early, as soon as we get past into January. So, any questions on the fire station? No? Okay. Starting tomorrow, we have the Sand Sculpting Championships returning after a 4-year hiatus. We will have a tent set up and sharing life safety information with the community all 4 days. That will include highlighting carbon monoxide detectors and carbon monoxide safety and all the other aspects of public safety. I've also been tapped to judge the sculptors on Sunday, so if you're out there on Sunday, look for me and say hi. I'd like to welcome Commissioner Farrell. We appreciate you dedicating your time to serving, and we will do our best to administer with professionalism and represent the district well. And then finally, I'd like to recognize those who have anniversaries this month, but we have none. Until now. Oscar started yesterday, so he is our lone November hire. So we'll be recognizing him next year this time. That's my report.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Yeah.
Attorney report, and Mr. Salzman is here today. So.
Well, I'd like to welcome the new board. Look forward to working with everybody again. Whenever you need me, I will be here. And I also would like to point out that I really think that what Chief and Jane did on the sale of the property, they've gone above and beyond, and it wasn't easy to deal with. This was a hard situation, and I appreciate all their help on this. I've been monitoring it from the legal perspective. We had to get people that had higher expertise because of the makeup of the property, and they've done a great job in helping them, and I wanted to acknowledge that I appreciate all their help. That's it.
Thank you, sir. On to commissioner remarks. Commissioner Fleming, we'll start with you, sir.
I want to thank everyone for the incredible hard work you all do. I'm proud that I'm able to continue serving this organization. I think we're moving forward, and just thank you all. That's all.
Jackie.
I'd like to thank the department for allowing the Beach Kids Foundation to utilize the department's parking lot to help park cars for the upcoming Sand Sculpting Championship this weekend. So what the chamber and the partners at the Sand Sculpting have done is partner commercial lots up with different nonprofits on the island, so that the nonprofits will run the parking lot and keep all of the money that's raised from parking cars for the next 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so there should be plenty of parking on the island, and the department was kind enough to give that the blessing. So thank you very much for that. I know it means a lot to them, and I know they're very excited to be able to get some fundraising from that to help purchase things for the kids for Beach Elementary, because as we know, it flooded again and it shut down, so they need to replace a lot of things that were lost in the school. So this is really, really going to help them, and they appreciate it very, very much, and we appreciate it. The chamber does very, very much. So thank you for that. And also, thank you for having your tent out at the sand sculpting. Right here, it'll be right inside the main entrance, and there will be a second tent inside the main entrance, I'm understanding, where our firefighters will be selling calendars that they've put together. So folks, get ready. You got to come out. It's a great fundraiser for the department to buy a calendar of the firefighters, and I got a sneak peek at the front page, and it's hot. So I liked it. So I'm very excited about it. And I'm expecting everyone to come out and buy one of these, especially all of you sitting here, to help support our own department. So thank you. And that will be right inside the front tent of the entrance. And let's see, I'd like to welcome Kieran. Welcome, and congratulations on re-election. So that was great. Thank you, Chief, for allowing us to pay you more money. I appreciate it. And thank you for being willing to take less for a job well done. You're a pleasure to work with, and exemplary for what a chief executive officer should look like in an organization. So thank you. And what else? I think that's about it, other than the sand sculpting Thursday through Sunday, 10 to 5 here at Diamond Head. And Old San Carlos has vendors and live music all 4 days from noon to 7. So that's all I got.
Good, thank you. Commissioner Farrell.
Here we go. First of all, I'd like to express to all of you what an honor it is to be here and to serve with you on this board. I want to thank you all for your encouragement some 5 months ago and your support during the time between then and now. I want to personally thank Larry Wood for his support since the start of this process. On several occasions, he has offered his counsel and expertise to me at any time, and I'm sure I will take him up on his offer in the future. Next time, be careful what you offer. You may have to change your phone number. I want to thank Chief Scott Worth for his time, encouragement, and support these last several months as well. He has done a yeoman's job of making me feel included along the way and has been a tremendous help in keeping me informed about many of the issues this commission faces in the coming years. I am grateful for his expertise, professionalism, and organization, attributes which are clearly evident in the staff he leads. To the residents of the Fort Myers Beach Fire Control District, I promise to serve you honorably and responsibly. The dollar figure on your property tax bill for the fire department is the third highest number on the bill, and I will do my best to make sure your money, our money, is well spent. And finally, I want to recognize the men and women who serve in the Fort Myers Beach Fire Department. When the alarm goes off, these brave people are first on the scene and never give it a second thought when it comes to helping those in danger. We are indebted to them for their courage. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Nice.
Commissioner Nickel.
Well said,
Now what do you say?
and welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And Larry, we're going to miss you a lot. And Jackie, you said just about everything that needed to be said. You did it so eloquently.
Thank you.
So I really don't have much more to offer other than to say congratulations to Commissioner Fleming and on his re-election. And I think we have a good board here, and I'm looking forward to the upcoming year. So thank you.
Thanks, sir.
I did forget to say thank you to Larry, but I said thank you earlier, so. Who?
It's so soon.
It goes that fast.
I guess I'll round things
You
off.
could have done that better.
Mirror what everybody else has said. Congrats to Ron and Kieran for their elections. They're swearing in today, and it's another 2-year cycle of the board's kind of perpetual development. A really hard goodbye for Commissioner Wood. Larry's been a friend and a just great inspiration to me. He's the reason I'm here on the board. He talked me into it years ago, and I in turn have talked other people into it since. So your effect is never ending. So it's a big thing. You were one of the first folks in the community that I had the pleasure of getting to know, and you've been just a solid presence ever since. And I can't thank you enough for your leadership and your kindness and your friendship over the years. that will not go away. There's plenty of time now that you're retired to get together, and we can talk about whatever now. So bring up any subject. Thanks to the chief for again a great job. You know, the delayed compensation thing from when we did your performance review was always tough because the environment changes and you know, dollar signs change. We were waiting on the contract with District 3, which I couldn't be more proud of that you made that happen in the parameters that we set. The future, I feel, is still a very bright one for us as a district, and looking forward to your leadership at the helm to accomplish that. Fellow board members, thank you for encouraging me to stay chair. I will do my best to do a good job, and once again depend on all of you to support everybody. And to Commissioner Fleming, the treasurer position is, having served it for a few years, it is the most kind of time demanding, and not that it's a lot, but I know your commitment and availability is there, and you will become a bigger presence in headquarters, I have a feeling, or 32. Hope we have a good sand sculpting. That's looking forward to it. For everybody, have a safe Thanksgiving, which is just shortly, coming up. If you're traveling, please be careful and patient. For those folks coming here, please be careful and patient. We're here if you need us, and please take all your safety precautions seriously if you're outdoors preparing exploding birds or dealing with boiling oil or however your meal preparation tends to go.